Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video. Now guys, let's take a look at the gold market. In the gold market situation, as it very often happened in recent times, very similar to the euro currency. Yesterday we have discussed some contradiction, as we have called it, between the action that looks like the bullish dynamic pressure, because you can see the market has shift trend to the bearish side, but price action stands to the upside. And bearish stop grabber that has been formed and completed yesterday. This stop grabber suggests the taking out of these lows and the downward continuation here. From the fundamental point of view and from the sentiment data that we have, we mostly stand in the favor of the possible downward continuation, because currently we do not see many reasons what could support the gold market. But in the short-term perspective, today, guys, we will get the inflation data release in the United States, and it's really could put some adjustment to the overall action. So, in fact, market here just waits when the data will be released. So, poor inflation data will push gold to the higher, and probably will take it out of this top and re-raise this grabber, and even I will not be surprised if the market will exceed this top. That's also is possible. So the short-term bearish setup will be destroyed, will be vanished. If data will be bad, I mean lower than expected. If the inflation will be according to the expectation or even greater, in this case we could get the downward continuation, and finally we will see the acceleration based on our weekly pattern. Not forget, guys, that we also have the bearish grabber on the weekly time frame chart, and that is the major pattern, the dominant of the coverall on the current analysis. So on the hourly chart, we see that market yesterday has dropped lower. We said that think about taking the short between 1208, 1210 area, with the stop somewhere above the 1210, because market should turn to the downside somewhere in this area, because if it's really bearish, the market mechanics tells the downward reversal should happen here. If it will not do this, the market will continue to move higher and will exceed this area. It means that market is not as bearish as it seems previously, and that the bearish setup right now stands under question, maybe even destroyed. And you see that market really has dropped here to the downside. Right now we have this smaller example of this action. So you can see this thrust up, ABCD retracement. The same thing you could see here, thrust up, ABCD retracement. In fact, market here has completed this card is triple to sell pattern. So market has dropped, showed ABCD retracement right back up, and logically thinking that market should continue to move lower. Also, guys, you could ask about this possible head and shoulders patterns that we see here. Well, personally, I do not like the one thing here is this drop. If we think that this is the right shoulder, here, guys, the bulls should take the control over the market, and such sort of the drops inside of the shoulder of the right shoulder, it should not happen. So, and in general, the shape of these patterns doesn't look really very attractive. So that's why maybe if you would like to treat it as the head and shoulders, you should do it with very carefully. But right now, in general, following the normal action, it seems that market it's still bearish, because market has met the resistance. It turns to the downside where it should. Here we just have the retracement, and the second logical step, it should be downward continuation. If this will not, and probably the key the key moment here will be the major moment will be the release of the inflation data. That will clarify the situation. So that's been said, Shortly speaking, the market is still bearish, and the action supports the bearish, normal bearish development. But the inflation data could shift everything, change everything drastically, and in fact that will be the moment that will clarify further action on the gold market.